Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. Quick sound check. You can hear me okay, see me all right, put it into the chat and let me know. Hey Ayakame, how you doing? Should be working, let's see. Good afternoon. All right. Let's give it a couple of minutes before we get started. Yep, okay, everything seems to be working fine. Good, okay. 1 minute, 2 minutes before we get started. Today is Friday, 26th, Australia Day. So for all the viewers in Australia, if you're watching, you might be preparing for the Skyworks. For everyone from Australia, happy Australia Day. Hey Lingopedia, how you doing? Good morning. Ayakame traded ECB yesterday. Hope you went well with that. We saw very dovish sentiment from President Lagarde about the euro economy, and we saw the euro dollar drop. So I hope you went well with that. We'll get into more details about that shortly. One more minute and we shall get going. Alrighty. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? How's your long weekend? Hey Kalinzi, good morning. How you doing? Welcome back. Hey Booba. Booba, I missed your question. I missed answering the question from during the stream yesterday. I did reply it on the Discord channel, so not sure if you caught the replies there. Hi LaRoche, how are you doing? Hey Lini. Hey D-Train, good afternoon. How are you doing? Lindsay says joined on time today. All good, all good. Better late than never, or better on time than never. Okay, so if you are new to the session, I see a couple of new names here. So if you're new to the session, do remember to drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. I love to find out. And for all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thanks for spending the 1 hour session every day with me during this market analysis. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it into the chat. Let me know. I'll answer them. I do, like Booba would say, I do miss some of the questions sometimes, but I'll check back. Miss them, I'll answer them on the Discord channel. The Discord link, or the link for the Discord channel, is there as well for you guys. So if you haven't already, make sure you join the Discord channel. It is absolutely free to join. So we can take our discussions beyond this 1 hour session into Discord as well. Okay. Ayakame, it's a quick question. Do you ever, maybe in a scenario where you open the charts and market is pushing strongly to a direction, you jump into it instantly? I used to do that. Okay, so Ayakame's question is, do you ever, in a scenario where you open the charts and market is pushing strongly to a direction, you jump in instantly? I used to do that. It would work out very well sometimes, and it will work out very badly sometimes. So this was back when I first started. You know, you feel anxious, you feel like, oh, in case I'm missing out on this move, I want to jump in straight away. Used to do that, not anymore, because now there are a lot of checks and balances in place. You know, check your news, check the Bollinger Bands, check the trend, know why it's moving before you jump into it, right? So if you feel like you have to rush into a trade, then it's going to be a very emotional trade. And we know emotional trades can make a lot of money, and emotional trades can also lose a lot of money, right? So I would my best advice would be to eliminate that portion, or try to eliminate that portion of your trade entry or as a habit, right? If it moves and you've missed out on it, it's okay. Let it move, let it miss out on that move. Look for a setup that you're going to be confident with, that you're going to be comfortable with. Not saying that it's always going to make money, but at least you know that you've checked the boxes, you've done the right process before entering a trade. Okay, very good question there, Ayakami. I hope that helps you. Buba saw the reply on Discord. Lini's from Mauritius, good to have you. Nice to have new viewers from Mauritius in different parts of the world. KLE says, good afternoon, how are you doing, KLE? Jimmy's off fishing after this. Hey, I hope you have a good catch, or many good catches. Hey, Alam Rakibo, good afternoon, how are you doing? Pips Apprentice, good to see you. Alrighty, so with that, Goju, good morning. Ian Stokes, how are you doing? Good morning too, thanks for joining us. D-Train says, do you have a favorite candlestick or a set of favorite candlesticks? My most favorite candlestick is when I have bought and it's a nice green candle to the upside, or the next best favorite candlestick is when I've sold and it has a big red candle down, right? I'm just joking, I'm sure you're not asking about that. My favorite candlestick pattern is really the hammer, right? The reversal candles, the hammer, or the, I can't remember what's the other one called, the reversal back down. Why I like that, quite easy, well, very easy to spot, especially if it happens at a resistance or support level. It does, because it's so easy to spot, it's so well known, it does play out quite well. But I would focus that on the slightly larger time frames, sometimes on H1, more on H4 time frames for those kind of candlestick patterns. Okay, so good question there again as well, D-Train. So hope that answers your question. Many good questions from you guys. Do keep it coming. If I don't answer it here, I'll answer it on Discord as well. Hey, an average FX trader, good morning, how are you doing? I hope you go from average. Join us on this daily market analysis consistently. I'm pretty sure you'll go from average to expert in time to come. Good morning, Ju Marinas, how are you doing? Alrighty, let's get started. Everyone is here, so welcome again. It is Friday, end of the week. It is Australia Day. It is also where we'll be talking about some possible trade setups. But before that, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. This is not a signal service. This is not a signal service. This is where I'm sharing with you my thoughts, views, and ideas, possible trade setups, what I'm looking at. I look for you to share your views as well. Put it into the chat. If you have any questions, put it into the chat, and we can have that discussion. You help me massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button as we go through this session. Okay? Now, into the business. Good morning, Angel Case. How are you doing? Good to see you. Now, into the business. What has happened since the last time we spoke? Yesterday, we didn't have anything earlier on, but at 9:15 p.m. with no surprise from the ECB. They kept rates at 4.5%, right? At 9:15 p.m. GMT plus 8, the ECB did not surprise markets, keeping rates at 4.5%. Even the monetary policy statement was relatively subdued, right? The MPS was relatively subdued. The fireworks really came during the ECB press conference at 9:45 p.m. GMT plus 8, where ECB President Lagarde came out with a rather dovish tone. Dovish tone meaning that not very positive, dragging the euro down, and that's what we actually saw here on the euro. You see that at 9, it was bouncing around, and then at 9:45 when the I'll put it on a 15-minute time frame to show you that. Right, so you can see here at 9:15 when it was released, when the rates and the statement was released, there, I'll move this one across, just move it aside. It didn't do too much. Did not do too much at all at that point, right? We saw it started at 1.0894, went down slightly to 1.0884, 10 pips, went up slightly, 1.09, not many pips, and then it sat there. Ended a 15-minute there, 9:30, 9:45. That's when it all started, when ECB President Lagarde came in and sounded dovish. It went from 1.0890, and then 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, all the way it dropped down to as low as 1.0824 at midnight GMT plus 8. Right, so it saw a big downward push, relatively big downward push on the euro dollar to the downside. Why so? Because she said economy likely stagnated in Q4. Straight away we know for it to say it's likely stagnated is bad news, right? Bad news, dovish. Economic stagnation is not a good idea, not a good sentiment. Data signal weakness in near term. Again, straightforward bad news or weak sentiment, dovish sentiment. Data signals weakness, right? Survey points to growth pick up further ahead, casting that timeline down further ahead. So it's saying we're stagnating now in Q4, weakness in the near term. It's only going to get better later on. So very dovish there. December inflation rebound was weaker than expected. Weaker than expected. Again, bad news. Inflation is expected to ease further over 2024. That one we know we've been talking about already. Domestic price pressures high, but some measures started to ease. Long-term inflation expectations mostly stand around 2%. Risk to growth are tilted to the downside. But remember, growth is expected to pick up further ahead. So not very good news for now. And then also with that, where was that headline? There, stands by comments. Forgot that one. Stands by comments on likely summer rate cuts, right? So summer rate cuts, it's going to be June, July, August period, not April that some market participants are possibly anticipating. And that's why we saw the euro dollar push strongly to the downside during the press conference, not during the data release, but during that press conference. Okay, so hope that makes sense to you guys in terms of what has or what did happen during the ECB press conference. That's why we saw that push. Did not bounce up, right? Did not bounce up because the dollar index did not drop, right? Did not drop as much as we expected. It came down slightly, down to that 103.12 level before bouncing back up again. Okay, so it did not drop as expected, but instead pushing back up again. Why did it push up? You can see that it happened at the same time, at the 9, 10, and 11 o'clock period. Remember, dollar index is made up mostly, big proportion of it, or majority proportion of it, by the euro. The dollar index is a combination, a basket of currencies forming the dollar index, or how the US dollar performs against a basket of currencies, and the euro is one of the major components. So with the euro dropping so rather significantly, that's pushed up the dollar index. It's not so much because of dollar strength, but that euro weakness that dragged down and then pushed the dollar up. Okay, so I hope that explains what has happened so far. With that, we also did see at 9:30 p.m. GDP, advanced GDP for the US, 4.9, expected 2%, came out at 3.3. Relatively good news for the US, also adding to that push to the upside. Okay, so that's what has happened since the last time we spoke. Core durable goods and durable goods orders stayed flat. Core durable goods a little bit higher than expected. So that's a bit of a mixed data there, but GDP pushing it up together with the euro dropping, pushing the dollar up. Does that make sense so far? Do put it into the chat. I'm just looking for you to say, yeah, makes sense, or no, still confused about the euro, about the ECB actions and reactions, and the dollar index. Put it in, looking for some, trying to make this a little bit more interactive between all of us. So put it into the chat, let me know if it makes sense. And while you're doing that, good morning, OJ Meds. How are you doing? Okay. We'll continue on when you all tell me it's all good and it makes sense. Thanks for that, Jimmy. Jimmy says all good. So now let's keep going. Now, what do we have today? What do we have today? Australia on a bank holiday. Again, happy Australia Day. Thanks for that, Lini. Appreciate that. We did have the core CPI for the Japanese at 2.1, 1.9 expected, came out at 1.6. So we do see inflation growth slowing down. Not great news there for the Japanese because they do want to push it up a little bit, get it to that 2% level. And then apart from that, not much else all the way through to 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, the core PCE price index for the US. It was 0.1%, is expected to rise slightly to 0.2%. You can see here from previous, it was staying around that level in December. It was 0.2, got revised down to 0.1, expected to stay at 0.2, dropped down to 0.1, staying relatively close. The actual comes out relatively close to the forecasted. I'm not expecting a surprise here on the core PCE price index. I think that it will be about 0.2%, which could bring a little bit more strength to the dollar index, especially with it now trying to push up, breaking above that resistance level. Okay, so based on that, I'm thinking, let me check this level. That's my 50% there. No, actually that, let me see. That's my 50%, that's fair, okay. So what I think could happen here on the dollar index, it is now at 103.70. It does look like we could see it come up to test 104, almost 104.25. Oh, almost 104. I wouldn't be surprised even if it does break and test 104.40. So I'll say within that range. Okay, breaking up towards the 104.20 25 level. And this actually brings me back, I'm going to digress a little bit, but this brings me back to that earlier, where is it? There we go. The earlier analysis on the dollar index outlook first quarter. There was a big write-up there that I did. Was looking for it to get up to that 104.30 level. You see that it's coming, I'm zooming on this, but it's coming towards that point, right? Might see it test 104.30. Would be nice in a quarter, test that level, and then push back down again. So around that range in the long term. So back to this. Today is the, make sure I get the dates right, the 26th of Jan. Now we're looking for this, for the dollar index to break above resistance 103.70. Rather close. Okay, I'll change that. All right. It close above resistance of 103.70, could trade up to 104.30. Okay, so breaks above that point, could trade up to 104.30 at the next resistance. We do have this level here from that point and the 50% fib retracement level from the long term, but it is getting quite close. So I do think that we can take that away. We can look at that resistance level. No, actually I'll leave it there. Right? So I think that we could still see it come to that point. Looking at some strength on the dollar. Does need to break above or close above this point first. In fact, I would say 103.80. There we go. Resistance area. Could get up to 104.30. All right. So now with that, then looking at the Kiwi dollar first, that did not trigger. Take that one away. Looking for that dollar strength to come back into play makes it relatively straightforward here on the Kiwi. Look at this. It's been in that range. It's been in that range. It's failed to do anything in a clear direction. What I'll be looking for is a push to the downside. Right? A push to the downside. Breaking that support. You could be looking to sell down that point, but that's a very small move. Okay, so you can do one small trade down, or if you wanted a longer term trade, let me see. You know what? We could be looking for this level here. There we go. Okay, so that's why I identified this point is because of this swing level here. So coming back to this, I think that you could even be looking at 0.6085, which is quite close. No more than 15, so keeping our stop quite tight. Take profit of almost 50, so say 45 to the downside with a bit of hesitation, possibly at 6066. Okay, so we're looking at the dollar strength scenario, pushing up. We're looking to sell 0.6085, 15 to 45. 6085, stop loss 15, take profit 45. Hesitation at 0.6066. There we go. All right. So we can look to sell this down, break that support, come down, might hesitate around there. So I think could happen as a push down, bounce around here, and then maybe push down a little bit more. Remember again, today is Friday, so we're heading into the weekend as well. So it might not have a big move, but and also that even if there is a move, you might want to be looking to close out your trades at the weekend. Here on the Aussie dollar, a bit easier in terms of a setup. We do have that trend line. It is breaking, looking like it's going to break that trend line. The dollar strength will drag the Aussie dollar down. As much as it is Australia Day, we have this move. We have 60. I want to see that break. In fact, I wouldn't even consider this too much. And I don't need this. Okay, we'll keep that there. I'll keep 61.8 there. Because those levels are a bit off. Now, what I'll be looking for, again, dollar strength scenario, breaking lower on the Aussie, selling down below 6570. That's quite close. Let's go a little bit lower, 6565 would be the safest, I would say. You have a 20 pip stop and a 40 pip take. I do note this swing level here, but I think that if it does break that trend line, we're going to see momentum push or dollar strength and the momentum push it to the downside. Okay, so 6565. So Aussie dollar, we're looking to sell down as it breaks that trend line. 6565, 20 pips stop loss, 40 pips take profit to the downside. There we go. Now Aussie dollar, we're looking to sell 0.6565, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Between the Aussie and the Kiwi, I think that the Aussie might happen sooner. And I might think that it's going to be a little bit of a nicer move because we do have that big swing level there, 40 pips. The Kiwi needs to break out of this level. We do have that swing level quite close. So I actually would prefer the Aussie a bit more than the Kiwi. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Then on to the US yen. Came down, it came very close to that 38.2 retracement level. In fact, it did break down by about 30 something pips. Did anyone catch that move down? And then we saw the dollar strengthen to push it back up again. Take that one away. Now, take that away. It is sitting, look at the yen. It's set in that range. It's set in that range. It had a breakout, came back in. Had a bigger breakout, came back in again, and now it looks like it's going to be back in this range again. We do have this point here, 61.8. It tested, failed to break. Now I would say that dollar strength is going to, well, when the dollar strength comes around, it's going to lead to some upside on the US yen. Good morning, Jamil. How are you doing? You could look for 148. Stop loss would be about 30 pips to be safe. Take profit about 50. I would say that you could even be looking at a tighter stop. But I think that 30 pips would be fair. And then anywhere in there, if it bounces. So what happens is, an idea is if it pushes up and it comes back in like to this point, you could look to close out the trade thinking that it will pop back down. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. Dollar index is still there. I think it will maintain within the range. It might pop out a bit more, but we'll maintain that. Okay, so 148. We're back to that US strength or dollar index strength scenario. We're looking to buy at 148. Stop loss 30, take profit 50. to the upside. Could it go higher? Yes, it could. It could get even as high as 148.70. All right, so even if you did a 60 pips take profit, that would be reasonable as well. But we'll consider that later on. Okay, so US yen, looking for it to come back into the range, break above that 61.8 Fib retracement level to the upside. So we're looking at 148, stop loss 30, take profit 50 pips to remain within that range. Now onto the pound. Jamil was just saying pound in profit, still holding, stop loss on break even. You're selling it down, I would assume. It would still be definitely, I wouldn't even put stop loss at break even. I'll put stop loss into some profit level, right? Securing the profit. Submitted a request for withdrawal at 3,000 euros. Very nice. Very nice. Thanks for sharing. I've just submitted my request for withdrawal as well. I'm not going to tell you how much though. All right. Now with the pound dollar, did push down. Bring that back. Right. It did push down, but did not retrace as high as we thought before pushing down. It sat in that area before pushing down. So we take all that away now with the pound dollar pushing lower. Again, dollar strength scenario. Again, that trend line there. All right, breaking that level 61.8. Oh, okay, 61.8 at that point there at 1.2650, around that 50 level. For this to push down, you can see that channel pretty much holding. What you need to be here is extra patient, right? Extra patient is because it needs to break this trend line. Close below, break that trend line. I would say that you would be looking to sell down 1.2670, stop loss 25, take profit will go down to 55 pips. I think that's a bit, it's happening now. It's happening now. I would even say that if it closes below on the hour, you could be looking to get in. So 1.2680 would be perfect, but I think it's a bit too near. 7.5. Let's keep it at 7.5. 20 to 60 to the downside. All right. My TP is the same at 192 pips. I think you sold back here, right? Back down, yesterday down. So, yes, so I put stop loss. Yes, I put stop loss. If you change the market, I will take some profit. Yep. Okay. Now looking at this, so pound dollar with that trend line supporting, looking for it to break the trend line, looking for it to close below 1.2675 and also below that trend line, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. Now pound dollar. Okay, we have that. We want to look for pound dollar to sell down from 1.2675, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. It looks like it's happening now. I think that it might drop a little bit and then core PCE price index might push it back down again or lower further. Then on to the euro. Look at that. Euro is at a multi-period low. Okay, the last time we were at this point. What price is at 192 pips, Jamil? What price do you have it at? The last time the euro came to this point was in December, right? At this price level in December, where it stayed within that range. We have another support here, right? Where it stayed within that range pretty much for the whole of December, or for half of December before it broke, before the dollar weakness broke the euro to the upside. Now, with what President Lagarde from the ECB was talking about yesterday, the dovish tone is in, or it's overcasting on the euro dollar, right? That means that we should be looking for continuation to the downside on the euro. Now, back to the present. There we go. That one is done. We can take that away. We'll take that one away. Now that it's breaking below this point, a more relevant one will be here, right? Breaking lower, and we have our support levels there. Checking if it could rebound. It's already done one rebound. Do that for you guys. Okay, so take that one away and that one away. Right, it's already done one rebound. It's already done this, rebounded back to test 38.2 area, and now pushing lower again. If this closes below this point and this point, if it closes below 1.0820, we should be looking for more downside on the euro, right? And you can see that it's still within the Bollinger, so that's fair. It's still good. It just needs to close red and below those points to push further down, with the dollar pushing to the upside. So what I'll be looking for here would be to sell 1.0810. Stop loss, no more than 20 pips, keeping it tight. Take profit could be 33 to the downside. It could be even 65. I would rather do 65 and then look for some possible hesitation at that point. All right, so I'll put that as a dotted line and I'll look for that move. Okay, so euro dollar pushing back down, bearish tone, dovish tone, down to the low in the December's lows. That's what we'll be looking for. So euro dollar 1.0810, stop loss 20, take profit 65 to the downside. Very overall, generally quite bullish on the dollar index. It might catch us out, it might totally reverse. I think if it reverses, then you have to be careful because the euro is on a big downtrend right now. I wouldn't be looking to buy it up. So I'll be looking for selling opportunities only. 1.08, what was it? 1.0810, stop loss 20, take profit 65. 1.0810, 0810, stop loss 20, take profit 65 to the downside. Okay, what if it does not break down? What if it just comes here, sits around this point and then pushes back up again? I would be looking for selling opportunities to sell it down. If it pushes higher, I'll be looking for selling opportunities to push to sell it back down again. Okay, would not be looking to buy it up unless something crazy happens on the dollar index. But generally looking for that downward move. Jamil has his take profit for the pound at 1.2593. That's quite a lot lower. 1.259. Okay, 96 is there. I think that it could, I mean, never say never. It could get there, but I don't know why 93. If anything, I would just have it at 96 or just 60 for me. Okay. But that's a pending move. Thomas has just asked for pound yen. Yes, we can do that. So we looked at the pound dollar looking like it's going to push to the downside. US yen sitting in that range right now, thinking that we could see that push up. So on the pound yen, we were talking about this yesterday, that we're looking for that bounce, right? I'll zoom in a bit. We were looking for it to come down, bounce off this level to the upside. It did bounce up. What I'm thinking here is that with the pound possibly dragging to the downside, for Jamil's benefit, for my benefit, looking forward to, as we look to sell it down, pound dollar dragging down is going to lead to a drag on the pound yen to the downside as well. Okay, we do have the next support at about that point, which is very far away, relatively far away. Okay, so that's quite far away. Let me just check this points here. Now we know why it's hesitating at that level and those points. Okay, so we know that 61.8 is there. This is my whole support area. Oops, didn't do that. This is my whole support area here. That's my other support area, and that's why you see it testing and bouncing off that 38.2. Pound dollar trading lower. We're going to see pound yen trade lower. You could look to sell it down 187.15 possibly. Stop loss no more than 30 pips. Take profit. You could go down 96 or 100 to the downside. The first hesitation will be there. So I'm thinking you could go down 100 pips. And then you're looking at some possible hesitation along that 186.69 or 186.70 level. Okay, so we're looking for the pound dollar to drag the pound yen to the downside towards that point. I think that even if we do see the dollar strength push the yen up, the dollar strength is also going to drag the pound dollar down. Yen looks a little bit maxed out within this range, a bit more downside on the pound. So I think that it's more likely to have that downward push. Or everything will depend on what happens at this support. Could it bounce? Yes, but I think that more likely, with that putting that cap, we might see it push down. At the most, I think that it could do that, but generally looking for that downward push. Okay, now prices are retracing because the dollar index is sitting right there, retracing slightly, but that is still okay. Hope I answered your question there, Thomas, about the pound yen. Jamil's updating us on his entry 1.2722 about there. 1.2722 about there. I think you sold there. Yeah, I would still take profit, would be still about that point. Okay. Then onto the US Swiss franc. Take that away because we're seeing the dollar push to the upside. Now it should be breaking. So it tested. You're most welcome there, Thomas. So it came down, it pushed up, it's testing 61.8, or it tested 61.8, retraced slightly, now testing again, looking to push up. That was a significant level there. I think that the US Swiss franc could push up, but it's not, I wouldn't think that it's a tradable setup. It's only I don't think it's a big move. It's only a 30 pip move, so I don't feel that it's a good H1 setup. Could it break higher? Maybe, but on dollar strength, I think there are a lot of other better trades to get into. What you want to see is a reaction. I wouldn't do any trades on the US Swiss franc, and I will be looking at 8720, a reaction for 8720. Okay, there we go. Okay, so US Swiss franc, we're going to look for reaction at 0.8720. There we go. Akame says, sir, policy statements, the kind of news, I don't know what's DT, will have a medium impact on particular pair, like 1 or 2 days impact. Yeah, generally statements, policies, and press conference announcements do tend to have a longer impact compared to when a data number is being released. Okay. All right. I think that's what you're asking, Ayakami. Hope I answered your question there. Let me know. Okay, and then on to the USCAD. It did that. So we were saying yesterday it's going to test, reject, and sell down. That was a good 40 pip move to the downside. Let me know if you caught that trade down. So it did push up, not as nicely as we thought. So it did test a little bit higher before pushing down. Good 40 pip move to the downside there. Great, very nice, Akami. Now, CAD coming back within that range. Dollar index pushing higher, should see the CAD push up. No major news on the CAD for today. You're most welcome there, Jamil. I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Now with this, I want to see that break up. I want to see the dollar strength pull the US CAD to the upside. So what I'll be looking for is to buy it up. Wait, let's just check a couple of levels here. Right, look, 23.6 is right there. So if it breaks above that point, it's a bit odd that it's sitting there, not doing too much, given that the dollar index is pushing up relatively strongly. So I would be thinking maybe later on, not a now kind of trade, a bit later on, 1.3490 would be extra safe. Stop loss no more than 15. Take profit could go up to 40 pips to the upside. Okay, there we go. So US CAD 1.3490. That's really being a bit conservative, but we'll keep that there. We're looking to buy it up 1.3490. Stop loss 15. Take profit 40 to the upside. Look at that. Sell Kiwi, sell Aussie, buy yen, sell pound, sell euro, buy CAD. Very bullish buyers on the dollar index pushing higher. We have to be very careful there. If it does disappoint again, I'm not ruling out the chance that the dollar index would disappoint. If it does this and then turn back in, staying within this range, then you can flip some of that bias towards the dollar weakness scenarios. But for now, I'll be anticipating that push up instead. Okay. Then on to gold. Look at that. Look at that. So gold yesterday we were saying break above 2020 to 2030. It got up above 2030. It tried to go a bit higher. And then, as we know, that dollar strength came back into play, so it pushed it right back down again. It got to 2025, failed to go significantly higher. Now sitting at this point. Actually, I don't need this anymore. Take that away. And that. Prince Philip OG says, how many trades do you take on average per day? On average, in the long run average is about 2 to 3 trades a day. Right? Long run average is about 2 to 3. What I mean by long run average, it's not, don't think that I'm going to enter 2 trades every day. There are days and weeks and periods that I end up with no trades or 1 trade. And then there are times where there's a news event or markets are trending strong trending scenarios. Then I would have many trades consistently over a period of time. So the long run average is about 2 to 3. Sorry, I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. 2 to 3 trades on average. Okay. What am I doing here? Okay, so that's 50. So that tested. So it failed to break above 50%, pushing down, anticipating that dollar strength scenario. Going to drag this down. So it needs to break below this point. I don't even think this is a good support. It's been broken too many times. I think we could see that as a support, and then this one as the next support here. Okay, so what I want to see here on this, I don't need that. What I want to see on the gold, would be for it to close below 2020 to trade down towards 2012, and then beyond that might be into next week, right? But what I would put here on gold would be that we want to see, must see DXY strength. Then if it breaks below 2020, could trade down to 2012. There we go. Okay, you have to see the dollar strength. You have to see that push up. Then we want to see that break below 2020 to trade down to 2012. It could very well go below that as well, but we do have, and maybe 2002. And then further, and then possible 2002. Right? Then we have that points there. Okay. Thank you, Pip's Apprentice. I appreciate that as well. Good. Prince Philip is answered on that. Alrighty. So remember again, today is Australia Day. Today is Friday. We do have the core PCE price index to be released. It most likely will move the dollar index, and we're going to see some movements, but it is heading into the weekend. So, I would generally advise to look to close out your trades before you head into the weekend, just so that you enjoy your weekend better, not having to worry about the trades. Pound dollar is coming very close, 7 minutes to the candle. Euro dollar as well. Kiwi and Aussie not so much. The US yen is still sitting in that range. The Swizzy is still sitting there. The CAD will be later on, possibly tonight. The pound yen is pushing lower because of the pound dollar. I think that if you had to focus and pay attention to particular pair of currency, it would be the pound dollar and the euro dollar. I think that's going to give you the most joy, hopefully give you the most joy for today. Okay, with that said, please help me out, click that like and subscribe, that thumbs up button on YouTube, the rocket ship button on TradingView, whichever platform you are watching on. do click the like and subscribe button. That would help massively. And if you haven't already, I'll see you all on Discord. And then also, if not, I'll see you all tomorrow. Not tomorrow. It's a weekend. I'll see you all on Monday, same time, same place. Have a great weekend. Please trade well, trade safe. Bye-bye now.